Once upon a time, a small group of characters were in a seemingly timeless moment in an extra dimension. They began to explore their world and realized they had an incendiary yearning for imaginary learning.
Oh hey, sorry I'm late. There was a bunch of weirdness out there.
There's another new teacher.
Sweet. What are we gonna learn today? Sweet. I love squares. Are we still gonna call an artist and musician and visit a neighbor?
There's probably a lot to do, so we should get to work.
What should we do first?
We could call Origins the owl.
Ooh, or we could call that weird primate philosopher.
Ali, what do you think?
Let's ask the audience.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. What do you guys want to do? Visit Origins the owl or the weird ape philosopher? Go ahead and just focus your eyes on one of these choices. Okay, sweet. Hey, Computer 5000, would you call up Origins the owl for us?
What's the magic word?
Now! Just kidding, just kidding. Please, would you please call Origins the owl?
Yes, students. Hello, Origins. Come in, Origins.
Hi, Mr. Origins. We're filming a show about squares and wondered what you know about them.
Ah, yes. Square comes from Latin, exquadrare, which was then shortened to square, which means to make square or to set in order. The description square shape or area dates back to the 14th century, a four-sided rectilinear figure, a number multiplied by itself. It can also mean honest or fair. Another kind of square is a town square, an urban square, an open public place often found in the heart of a city used for community gatherings. Often they are suitable for markets, concerts, political rallies, or any other kind of community event. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Hi.
Oh, hi friends.
How did we get the coronavirus again?
They think it was from bats.
Bats?
Yes, at a wildlife market.
A market for wild animals?
Yep, illegal ones even.
That's terrible.
It is. Though human culture has been pushing further and further into the habitats of wild animals. So we could have gotten the virus just by intrusive interaction.
You mean like exploring bat caves?
Yes, indeed. Also, bats are a large group of mammals, second only to rodents. So they are a natural reservoir for viruses since they have so much diversity in their population.
So did people get it from eating a bat?
Maybe, probably not. We're still not sure if it was direct or from some intermediate host, like a rat, a pig, or a squirrel. Or just germs from bat poop even.
Bat poop?
Yep, it's called guano. You guys want to see a video about bats? Do you guys want to see a video about bats? Come on.
There's only 3 species of vampire bats.
Bats eat food and therefore spread the seeds required to plant more.
The flying fox can weigh 2 pounds and has a 6-foot long wingspan. Bats are immune to many diseases.
Bats are separated into 2 categories, megabats and microbats. Some bats' hearing is so strong they can detect the sound of a beetle walking on a leaf.
Bats control insect populations. Bats are extremely adaptable and live on almost every continent. Bats are the only flying mammals and are extremely diverse. Bats can survive being encased in ice during hibernation. Bats are immune to so many diseases.
Oh yeah!
What should we do now?
Let's call an artist.
That's a great idea. Hey computer, call an artist.
Calling an artist.
Let's go to. Hey Breeze.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good to see you.
Hey, likewise, good. Hey, we're working on episode 2 for Imaginary Learning and wanted to know if you had a few minutes to answer a few questions for us.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that sounds cool. Let's do that.
All right, sweet. Hey, so we've noticed a lot of patterns in your work. Where do these patterns come from and what do they mean?
Oh, the patterns in my work, you can see a lot of lines and a lot of movements and spirals. A lot of it comes from my graffiti background, but a lot of it is inspired by older native patterns and designs too, like water designs. And yeah, it's just something that I've stuck with for a long time, and using it over and over again, it kind of became a signature style for me. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Animals, do they represent more than themselves?
Oh, the animals that I draw or paint. Yeah, so well, clearly we live in a desert area, although most of us are in the city, but the natural desert area that we live in has a lot of interesting different species of animals, other than your classic neighborhood dogs and cats hanging out on the block. But for me, those animals and the tribes that I come from in Native American culture, they all have different meanings and representations and stories behind them. Because I think at one point, well, let me say this, I guess. There are a lot of stories, there are a lot of different stories about those animals in my tribe's culture. And I think what a lot of them translate to, because they're not speaking literal, I think a lot of it is very poetic sometimes. What I think what they speak about is how our people here, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, however long we've been living here in this valley, that the animals were sort of like teachers for us. Like we could watch them and understand like how they survived in this really crazy environment where it's super hot and dry. And if anything, I think it was a teaching moment for the people to be kind of like an aha, like, oh, okay, well then maybe we should consider something like that, or yeah, I just think there's some deep lessons in those animals, and I really like to bring them and tie them in. And either way, they're fun because people can recognize a giant, roadrunner or like a giant rattlesnake. People know what they are. So yeah, they're fun.
Nice, that's rad. A lot of your work seems representative of indigenous culture and tradition, but it also has your own unique style. Is that all on purpose?
Yeah, so the influences that I have in the work that I make, it's basically my personal experience of, like I was saying before, graffiti art, spray painting, but also where I come from and in my family history and my tribal history, all those things. I feel as I've grown older, I've understood that they've all made me who I am. All those different experiences, all those different histories and bloodlines that I carry, it's made my own experience unique to itself, and I can pick and choose those different things and incorporate them in the work that I make. And although some people may relate to one side more than the other, say somebody may relate to the graffiti side more, or they might relate to the animal side more, or the native side, like the man in the maze. Either way, I feel like it's a good jumping off point and a platform where it can engage more people. So I feel like it's important that way to try and bridge those gaps, because everybody's got different experiences. Even myself growing up, my own half brother and half sister, we grew up in the same sort of way, but we have way different experiences and we're totally unique to ourselves as individual people. So yeah, it's all related. Anyways, I hope I answered that.
You have taught classes before. Do you think anyone can become an artist?
Yeah, I think I have taught classes before. I've taught classes out on the res where I grew up at, and I think that as far as being an artist, I think what does that really mean? That can mean a whole lot of different things, but I really think being an artist, you're being a communicator in a different way. You're not vocally saying anything, but I think that we all have that deep down in us, like we have that inner voice, and on one hand, I think sometimes we just need a push to realize that we have that ability to express ourselves in that way, where like myself, I'm not someone that can play music, but I can draw and I can paint. So I feel like that's another way for me to communicate. But I really think that from my experience working with younger people, that it's helped them to utilize that, to really work on finding other ways to operate in a society that always tells us, oh, it's only one way, or it's this way, or it's very structured. When you can find that freedom of expression, you can really branch out into so many different ways, and you kind of have a limitless potential and possibility to do many different things. So I think somebody can learn to be an artist, but more importantly, I think they can learn to express themselves in a positive and a healthy way. So I encourage everybody to find their inner artist and their inner voice, for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's really inspiring. Thanks for sitting down and talking with us. Is there anything else you want to share with our viewers?
Oh man, yeah, no problem. I really appreciate you guys hitting me up, calling me over. I hope everybody is staying in this time that we're in. I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope everybody's taking care of each other, their family, their mental health or physical health. And man, I hope everybody's staying inspired and making art, making music, and just being good to one another. So thanks for having me.
Sweet, thanks a lot. All right, see you later, Reed.
Yeah. All right, bye. See you guys. Take care.
a square?
That's a triangle.
Actually, it's called a speed square, though it is in the shape of a triangle, but it helps people when they're building houses to make sure that their angles are square, which means they connect at 90 degrees.
Well, that seems like a helpful tool.
It is. You can use them to find measurements and angles of roofs.
Yo, it's Geo Joe. You guys are talking about squares? To square a number is to multiply it by itself. As a quantity, it forms a square. So like 2 times 2 is 4, 2 rows and 2 columns of 2, which is the first square. 3 squared forms a square of 9. Notice the 2 superscript at the top? That's how you square a number. If you add the odd numbers together, they sum the squares. 1 plus 3 equals 4, which is 2 squared. 1 plus 3 plus 5 equals 9, which is 3.
Hey kids, it's your friendly neighborhood alligator friend neighbor buddy. Hey, has anybody ever called you a square? Well, they probably have. And you probably are. But don't let it get you down. Because we find some real beauty in squares. Think about the 4 seasons, for example. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. That makes a square. And every time the seasons change, you turn a new corner. So, in 1 square measurement, let yourself turn that corner. You'll see it again. It's always the same, even if it seems different. That's it, kids. Find that square inside yourself today. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. All you got to do is call. I'll be your friend.
Okay, so you want to make a puppet out of trash? Well, let's make a puppet that looks like Ali the alligator, and we gotta find some trash. So see if you could find a piece of cardboard like one of these. Okay, so tear open the box. Often there'll be a seam. Get rid of the excess. Get some scissors. Get rid of the excess pieces we don't need. We don't need that much of it. And then we're gonna sketch a little. Get a pencil, and it's often good to sketch. And Ali looks kind of like a big old couple of fingers, right? Let's just do that. Couple fingers. Sketch kind of a general idea of his head. We're gonna put a different piece for his jaw, right? We'll get that set up, and then we're gonna give him a little lump for his eye up here. Right, we'll come into the marker in a bit. Let's see. And then let's cut him out. There we go, that's pretty good. Alright, and then we need a jaw. So let's see. About like this. Down to about here. And let's cut it bigger than we need it for now. And let's give him some teeth on there. Make them sharp. Cut out a couple triangles. Alright. Almost good. Alright, and find a marker, any kind of marker's fine, and you gotta give him an eye. Alright. Then you give him an outline if you want. We gotta give him his mouth. His mouth is gonna be like this. Maybe let's make it dark. If I have paint, you got paint, you can paint his mouth in red, paint his teeth white. Right now we're just gonna use this. And then we could give him an outline. Should we give him an outline? Give him a little outline. There we go, that's pretty good. Coming along. Now let's outline his lower teeth a little, just to give him some definition. Now we could line down like this. Ooh, I kind of like that. We'll do the outline too, though. Something like that. And I think this jaw's a little big. I'm gonna trim the jaw down a little bit. Give him a smaller jaw. Bro, hello. All right, that's getting close. Okay, this is pretty much it. This is the guy right here. What we need though is some sort of thing to make the jaw hinge. So I found this screw. I thought I've had something better, but we can use a screw. You could use a nail. You could use a stick. You can kind of use anything you get your hands on. But let's see if I can get this screw in here. Gotta use my powers. Oh, it's going in there. It's almost there. Hey, we're pretty close. Pretty close. I just don't want to screw it all the way in. Let's see. There we go. We got it. Just do it like this. Yeah! Yeah! Hey, everybody! We love you! Go subscribe! Really though? Yeah! Woo! I'm alive! Hey everybody, I'm alive! Alright, now go take it and scare your friends or your neighbors or whoever. There you go. Okay, y'all, so now, music or poetry? Music or poetry?
A Gathering of Spirits by Paula Gunn Allen. Because we live in the browning season, the heavy air blocking our breath, and in this time when living is only survival, we doubt the voices that come shadowed on the air, that weave within our brains certain thoughts, a motion that is soft, imperceptible, a twilight rain, a soft feather's fall, a small body dropping into its nest, nestling, murmuring, settling in for the night. Because we live in the hard-edged season where plastic brittle and gleaming shines, and in this space that is cornered and angled, we do not notice wet, moist, the significant drops falling in perfect spheres that are the certain measures of our minds, almost invisible, those tears, soft as dew, fragile, that cling to leaves, petals, roots, gentle and sure, every morning. We are the women of daylight, of clocks and steel foundries, of drugstores and streetlights, of superhighways that slice our days in two. Wrapped around in glass and steel we ride our lives. Behind dark glasses we hide our eyes. Our thoughts, shaded, seem obscure. Smoke fills our minds. Whiskey husks our songs. Polyester cuts our bodies from our breath. Our feet from welcoming the stones of earth. Our dreams are pale memories of themselves, and nagging doubt is the false measure of our days. Even so, the spirit voices are singing, their thoughts are dancing in the dirty air. Their feet touch the cement, the asphalt delighting. Still they weave dreams upon our shadowed skulls. If we could listen, if we could hear. Let's go then, let's find them. Let's listen for the water, the careful gleaming drops that glisten on the leaves, the flowers. Let's ride the midnight, the early dawn. Feel the wind striding through our hair. Let's dance, the dance of feathers, the dance of birds.
Let's call a musician.
Hold on. That was awesome. Thanks, Aja.
Let's call a musician now.
That's a great idea. Hey, computer, call Kite 93.
Calling Kite 93.
Hey, Kite.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, guys?
You got a minute to talk with us?
Yeah. Could make one.
Sweet.
So, why kites and what do the numbers mean?
Well, both the kite and the numbers represent multiple things. So I'll just give you a couple real quick, or we'll be here all day. One is like it's the importance of running around outside, because everybody nowadays, is very screen focused, myself included, and like it's kind of like a reminder, like, hey, just go out there and enjoy it sometimes. And then it's also I tend to feel consistently throughout my life, I feel very like I'm getting like carried along by unseen forces, and that kind of is a pretty cool metaphor with like the wind uplifting the kite.
That's definitely a cool metaphor, man. I can take that.
And then,
so we're doing our topic for our show is squares, so it's cool that a kite is a quadrilateral. But then I saw you perform at a music festival before, and it was on like a sort of rectangular square box. What was that, and how does it make music?
So that's called an MPC, which stands for Music Production Center. It's a drum machine. People also call it like a sampler or a sequencer. It's basically, it doesn't actually make music, but you can put any sound clips on it, and then it's really cool for like rearranging them, changing the pitch, and like combining different ones together and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of programming beats with that.
It's rad.
Do you make your own beats and rap?
I do. I've done both of those for coming up on, well, I don't even remember exactly when I started. So I'd say around 20 years at this point. It was around the turn of the millennium when I started writing raps. And I just didn't really know anybody who made beats back then. Now I know a ton of people who do, but back then I didn't. And so like, not wanting to just use random other people's beats, I just kind of started learning, to do it so that I have beats to use. I was lucky to come from a musical family, so like I already had learned a lot of musical kinds of stuff, that kind of gave me good building blocks to work with when it came to beat making. So yeah.
Nice, that's rad. And so it's funny is that your one album, Thursday the 13th, you're like buried in record sleeves, which are all squares. I think that's pretty cool. And then your other album, or the other one that I've listened to, is Raised by Trees, and the trees are like breaking through the sidewalk. And I was just kind of wondering what the symbolism of that means to you.
Yeah, so again, that's kind of like multi-symbolic, but to give you the short version, the sidewalk is kind of represents like industrial civilization and all these ways that like humans have really been able to kind of like trick nature in some amazing ways. But as I see it, it's like we can trick nature, but only temporarily. Nature always gets the last word in the end. And that's kind of what the roots breaking through the concrete represents. Because I mean, that will really happen. I actually just had my main water line in my house started backing up the other day, and it turned out it was from tree roots. They can like sense that there's water in the pipes, and so they'll break in there and mess your stuff all up, so it's basically to represent that like as much as it seems like we can get control over nature, it's an illusion, like nature always is in the driver's seat. We're just along for the ride. So.
Nice.
We heard a Simpsons sample in one of your songs. How do you find samples?
All kinds of ways. I actually grew up religiously watching The Simpsons, and so that one I didn't even really have to find. It was just already, up here, and I just, felt it was appropriate for that song. A lot of it is records, like these nice square objects right here. I sample a lot from records. I sample a lot from like Tube and other stuff I find online. I like to use like sounds that I record myself. Like one time I used for a bass drum, I just like hit this chair really hard, and it gave a nice like thump, and like so that made like a cool bass drum. I like doing stuff like that that's like, not the usual format, because I've been doing it for so long. I still love sampling records and sampling songs, but it's like after so long, it kind of, you know, you look for other ways to spice it up. Actually, on Thursday the 13th, on one of those tracks, on track 12, I used the drums on that are actually not drums. They're entirely noises from like the record, like, you know how a record will like crackle and pop as it's playing. I took like, there was one little kind of thumpy sound, I used that for bass drum, and then used other different crackles and stuff for the other drums. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I just try to keep an open mind, and just anything I hear anywhere that I'm like, oh, that's cool, like I'm just, nothing's off limits.
Nice.
Can you show us how to make songs on the MPC?
Yeah, I'd love to. First, I record some samples. Next, I clean up the sound of my recording a little bit, import it to the MPC, and then chop it into short sections or individual notes. Then I assign each one of those chops to one of these bright green pads so I can play around with them, rearrange them, and do other cool stuff like this. So my bass, that was actually just my voice, I filter out a lot of the high frequencies and move it around to a bunch of different notes. Messing with that music box door, I got that little squeak, and add some reverb to that, and then again move it around to, and the music box itself, and here's how I threw it together for now.
So, is there anything else you want to share with our viewers or our students?
Yeah, just, you know, follow your heart, do what you feel is good and what's right, and don't, you know, don't feel like you got to do what everybody else is doing. Don't feel like you got to not do what nobody else is doing, you know, like it's just, you know, go your own way. That's what I say.
Hey, hey, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for joining and taking our call.
Of course, thank you guys.
story about a revolution in mathematics, a challenge to the dogmas of the old world, let me introduce you to an inventor, an experimenter, the founder of the school of mathematics within the semicircle of Pythagoras. His name was Hippasus of Metapotnum. The Pythagoreans worshipped numbers, but only whole numbers and their ratios. They believed that everything could be reduced to numbers. The whole universe had been constructed using mathematics, cosmological principles that underlie the formation of the material universe. They said that the truth behind everyday reality we experience is based on numbers. Yet their concept of number was limited to ratios. Hippasus figured out that the diagonal of a square could not be expressed as a ratio. He realized that there are number relationships that transcend simple whole number ratios, and he published these realizations, sharing his proof with the common people. The Pythagorean Brotherhood saw this as a challenge to their empire of belief. Hippasus was upending their entire religion and explanation of reality. The semicircle would not stand for this. The nerve of this heretic, this lover of truth and his sharing of the blasphemy with common folk. He will pay for this. The cult of the semicircle plotted his demise. As a symbolic gesture to the present and the future, the secret brotherhood knew that dead men tell no tales. They decided to murder Hippasus, to sacrifice him to Poseidon. They set sail on the Mediterranean Sea and prepared to throw him and his radical ideas overboard. You dare challenge the paradigms of rational numbers. We will feed you to the fish. And they pushed Hippasus, blindfolded, off the end of the plank. Hippasus yelled back on his way down, "Long live the square root of 2!" And then he plunged into the water and drowned, or maybe eaten by a great white or a giant squid. Some say we will never know. This sparked a transformation, a revolution of understanding. A new number existed. Hippasus marked the beginning of irrational numbers and the incommensurable.
You students are looking for squares? All you guys are squares! A bunch of L7s! Maybe you should start over and go back to square one! You guys sure you're not just trying to fit a round peg in a square hole? Why don't you find me later at the town square? Be there or be square! I got some advice for you kids. You gotta catch the right angles.
Look me square in the eye and tell me you're being square with me.
Are you trying to square up with me? You're watching Imaginary Learning.
Hey, I think that's everything. We did it.
What about visiting a neighbor?
Oh, that's right. We have to call a neighbor. D-Roan! Hey, D-Roan!
D-Roan!
Hello neighbor, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
We are doing a kids show on squares. Got a minute to talk with us?
Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm just out here working in my garden, which is kind of squared off with all my veggies, and they're all sitting inside, double them up and make a rectangle, I guess, here. But yeah, just tending to the garden and getting ready to harvest.
Nice. Do you want to show us around?
Sure, absolutely. Come on in. Yeah, this is the garden beds here. Nice big rectangle shape to get around, and got some beautiful broccoli and some Brussels sprouts coming, and some lettuce greens, and a whole bunch of neat stuff. I got some cabbages and some celery, kale, you name it. And right over there is our little our chicken coop with all our chickens. Nice little squared off space for them to live in.
Did you build that yourself?
Yeah, it took a little bit of time, but we definitely got it built out, and got 9 chickens in there. Loving it.
Can we see?
Yeah, come on back. I'll show you the squares they lay their eggs in. This is where they lay their eggs for me every morning, right in here, and nice little squares for them to have a nice little safe space. And would you look at that? There's an egg. So this is their little squared out home, and they seem to love it. And they've got a nice big square orchard to run around and scratch things. So yeah, this is where they live. Glad you guys came over. Some of this? Go get it. They love their food. Well, thanks for stopping by, guys. My name's Brian, and this is the Coronado Urban Farm.
Alright, so here's our mission. We're gonna go plant this mushroom somewhere in the neighborhood. Here we're? No. Let's find a different place. Yeah. How about right here? Nah. I think it might fall. Okay, let's put it somewhere else. What about right here? There's probably a better spot for it. Let's go somewhere else. Alright. This is the best spot. Yeah. Hey, you can't put that here. We're never gonna find a place for this. Maybe we will. Wait, what about right here? That's perfect. Mission accomplished. Let's find some squares. Already, one right here.
Are you one of those people that says they hate mathematics, but you still kind of want to know a few things? Well, have I got something for you? The people in the Panda at 12X Spiral have made a cute little publication exploring a bunch of different math concepts using only the number 1. How did they do it, you ask? Well, let's look inside. First of all, it's called 1 Isn't Even a Number, which is weird, but it's true. There's stuff about rational numbers, irrational numbers, real numbers, imaginary numbers, exponents, the multiplicative identity property. We talk about binary numbers, which uses 1 and 0, but 0 doesn't count. It talks about digital roots, which is like this old school way to check your arithmetic. It's got percents, scientific notation, astronomical units, coefficients. You can get your own copy for $6 on a link somewhere. There's a free digital download, and maybe you too can find out why 1 isn't even a number. Hey y'all, we were just talking about how cool the abacus is. This thing first started appearing in China about 1,000 years ago, and it can help us do addition, subtraction, some multiplication, but we're gonna add these numbers together, and if you can do it before we get to it, then you win. All right, let's give it a go. So we have 3,341,123 plus 4,742 equals 7,757,000 $669,865. All right. So if you beat us, then you win. We don't have any awards. You can just go grab something out of the fridge or whatever. But yeah, it's the Abacus. It's helpful for addition.
Mission accomplished.
Oh yeah!
Mission accomplished.